So, how do you cancel your ACT test score? That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. My name is Kristina of Ivy Lounge Test Prep, and for the past 15 years now, I've helped high schoolers all around the globe dramatically raise their SAT and ACT test scores and ultimately land spots at their dream schools. So let's get started. So there happens to be an ACT this weekend at the time I am recording this. And so with that in mind, please allow me to prepare you for a situation I hope never happens to you, but I want you to be prepared just in case, okay? So the situation is this. You sit to take your test and something truly, horribly goes dramatically wrong. I don't know what that thing is, but it leaves you with like no doubt in your mind that your score is just not salvageable, okay? So if that is the case, then how do we stop this very, very low score in its tracks so that no one, i.e., no college, will ever have to see the evidence of your catastrophic Saturday or Sunday morning performance? That's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to talk about right now. But now, before we talk about how to cancel your ACT score, we first need to make sure that noping the whole thing is like the right move in the first place, okay? So it's such an important question that I actually already recorded a video about it, and I will link in the show notes so you can see below. And before you do anything else, just it's a quick video, just please watch it. Okay, are you back with me? Great. So if you have reviewed the legitimate reasons why one would want to cancel an SAT or ACT score, and you are still positive that your reasons fall on that list, right? And you're not just having like a temporary nervous freak out, then let's proceed. Okay, so let's say you want to cancel your ACT score. There's sort of three ways you can, in effect, do that. Okay, so the first one is keeping your ACT from even being graded at all, right? So this option means that you stop the ACT in its tracks, like before it literally is even graded. That means you never have a score that is recorded. That means you never know what that score could have been. That means colleges will never know what that score would have been. So if you truly wake up feeling like terrible on test day, like physically ill, or you're having another emergency, here are some options. One is you could just like not go to the testing center at all. Instead, you could log into your actstudent.org and you could pay a $44 date change fee, right? It's still cheaper than the 65 to upwards of like $130 fee that you would pay to just like miss it and then re-register for a new test entirely, right? And if you never even go to the test center, that means, well, you're not taking the test. So it like, you're not even canceling it, like it never existed. So that's one thing you could do. Say you did make it to the test center, right? And then belatedly, you realize that you're too ill, you're too otherwise compromised to like take the test. So if you're still taking a paper pencil test, don't break the test booklet seal. If you're doing it online, then it's like you never even like started the test. So what you're going to do in this case, like you get to the test center, maybe they get you to your seat, but you're like, I can't do this. I cannot go through with this. You're going to tell your proctor immediately, like immediately, do not start the test, that you will not be taking it. And then you will, talk to them about moving your test registration to a different date. So again, you'll pay like a change fee, but you won't necessarily forfeit like the whole registration. Okay, another thing, let's say you wake up, you go to the test center and you start taking the test, right? And all of a sudden you feel really sick or you have an emergency, and it prevents you from even like finishing the test. So again, tell your proctor like right away to void your score. So it must happen before you even leave the test center, this whole voiding the score thing, right? And it has to happen, obviously, the day of the test. So you will lose your registration fee because you already started the test, but this is better than having a score that you like absolutely know is not usable, especially if like you have some schools on your list that want to see all your test sittings. Now we're going to talk about how to change which colleges will even receive your ACT scores. But before we do, I want to introduce myself in case you are new to my universe. So again, I'm Kristina of Ivy Lunge Test Prep. I help high schoolers get into their dream schools by dramatically raising their SAT and ACT test scores and helping them write compelling and authentic college application essays. So I have a question now for you, and that is, have you ever wanted to or succeeded in canceling or voiding a test score on like the SAT, the ACT? And were you successful with the whole canceling or voiding of it? Or do you regret having done it? Or were you happy that you were able to do it? I'm curious, like, where are you with this process? So answer me in the comments below. I want to know. And while you're at it, just go ahead and thumbs up this video, and also subscribe to my channel. And then that way, every week when I drop the latest in SAT, ACT, and college application tips and tricks and hacks and strategy, you will be the very first to know. Okay, so back to how to change which colleges even receive your ACT scores. Okay, so say you show up at the testing center, right? Like the part I just talked about doesn't really apply to you. You showed up at the testing center, you broke the seal of your test, or you started taking the test online, and you leave and you did not actually talk to the proctor about voiding your score. Well, your ACT is going to get graded. So, like, that's just what's going to happen, right? However, if you really have a good reason to believe that you have done very badly indeed on this test, there's still something you can do right away to remedy the situation. Okay. So, you know that registration fee that you paid? Okay, you see, part of this 65 to like upwards of like $132 registration fee, assuming you're adding all the sections and maybe you do it late and there's a late fee attached. Okay. Part of that fee includes you getting to choose up to 4 colleges that are going to get this test settings ACT score for free. Okay. But happily, you can change or even delete the full list of these college recipients up until the Thursday after your ACT test date. Okay. So in this case, what you're going to do is you are going to log into your actstudent.org account. You had to have this to register for the ACT in the first place. And you're going to edit or delete those colleges that you do not want to see this test date's score. Now, if you get your ACT score back and it's actually better than you thought you did, you can still send this score to as many colleges as you wish, right? It's going to cost you, the current fee right now in June 2025 is $19 per score per school, right? So in other words, if you have like 10 colleges on your list and you want them all to see February and April, then you're actually sending 20 score reports, right? 10 for February, and you're sending April's to 10. So that would be 20 times 19, so $380. But hey, this way, you are not sending a score blind. You're sending it after you got the score back and you know what's a score you want to send. So this is a good remedy, is deleting or changing the up to 4 colleges who get it for free automatically, if you take the test and you think you did very poorly on it. And then finally, you can delete your ACT score record. So this is a little known fact, but you can actually delete your ACT score from a particular test date entirely. Okay. So this is the option. Honestly, you might only need to consider it if you have a truly abysmal score and also you have a college or colleges on your list that require all scores to be submitted to them. Okay. Otherwise, like, don't bother. Just like, don't send that test date score to that school and you're done. Right? So in this case, this is what you're going to do. You're going to submit a written request to the ACT, and you could do it online or by phone. So online, you're going to go to a link on the ACT's website. I will include it in the show notes, and you are going to fill out the web form. You are going to select scoring from the drop-down menu under select your issue, and then in the text box where it asks you to describe your issue, you're going to say you want to delete a test date record. So you can do that. online, or you can actually contact at the bottom, it says additional contact information, and you can actually call 319-337-1270. That's 319-337-1270. And you can talk to like an ACT customer support person and you can delete the test record that way. So in that case, I think the ACT is going to email you a form and then you fill that out and then you will, successfully delete that test dates record. Now, please note though, so while it is possible to permanently delete a nasty ACT score from your record, you can only do it if you paid for this yourself. Okay, so if you took a national ACT test day and you paid the registration fee, or maybe you had a fee waiver, then you can permanently delete it. However, if you were taking the ACT as part of, say, state or district testing, and the state or your school district paid for it, you're out of luck. You're not going to be able to delete that test date's ACT score. Also, if you've already like previously sent a score to a college, deleting the score or the record of it doesn't delete the fact that that school already got the score. Does that make sense? So you would have to have deleted the test date record before you ever sent it to anyone else. So a final note here is you don't want to cancel your ACT score unless you really, really have to. Okay, so like if a true medical or other kind of emergency prevents you from taking the test, honestly, simply be a no-show or tell your proctor and change your test date for a small fee online. Okay. If you begin to take the test and you start passing a kidney stone, like literally happened to a past student, right? Or your calculator dies and you can't finish the math section, tell the proctor immediately. And that way you could avoid your test even before you leave the building. It has to be before you leave the building. If there's no emergency and you merely feel like you think you didn't do well, please don't cancel your score, right? You might end up logging into your account and like edit the colleges that you're going to send this to, or like delete the colleges you're going to send it to by the following Thursday. And then who knows? You might be pleasantly surprised when you get your score a few days after that, right? And finally, if you did like really perform terribly, and only if colleges on your list require to see all test scores, right? You may follow the process of deleting a specific score permanently from the ACT test records. So if you're confused about any of this, or you need help with this whole like test prep college thing in the first place, I actually have a great free resource for you, which is a video training called Your Fail-Proof College Prep Plan. So check it out in the link below.